Hey everyone, welcome to the Marketing 101. I'm not sure how familiar everyone is. I'm guessing there's going to be a range of marketing knowledge in here. I know you all do a great job promoting Decentraland as a whole, so you at least have some basic stuff. But I'm going to go through some general marketing principles, overarching strategy thoughts, and then tips and tricks for how you can build your brand and really market your services and creations and events here in Decentraland. So we are going to jump right in. As a heads up, we do have a Slido. Fractillians, do you mind throwing it in the chat for us too?
Grab it real quick. Yes, hold on a second.
Okay. And then, so throughout, feel free to ask questions. I'm also planning for this to be a little bit more collaborative than formal. So there will be some collaborative questions where we ask you to use the chat throughout. So feel free to throw things into there as well. We will go through all the Slido questions at the end. So just wanted to kick it off with quick intro and roles. So hi, I'm Kim, or Kimbo if you see me in world, now that I finally have my name. And I'm the marketing lead here at the foundation. So for anyone that's not familiar, my background is in, do we mind muting anyone that's here? Thank you. There we go. My background is in traditional advertising. So I worked at brand and advertising agencies for 12 years. I also ran marketing for a brewery, which was obviously a ton of fun. And then found my way into NFTs, Web3 around 2021. Ran a NFT project as the project manager and marketing lead for them for about a year. During that project, we decided to make Decentraland wearables, which is how I ended up here. So if anyone has the eyes of fashion wearables, that was my old project. And that was my first real jump into the space as a project creator here. So that was a lot of fun. And then through that process, I met the Decentraland team and ended up joining in September of 2022 as social media and now the marketing lead. So that's kind of my background. I live in California. I have 2 kids. You can follow me at Kimbo NFT on Twitter. I'm going to pass it over to Peanut Butter.
Hey, how's it going? I am Peanut Butter, also known as Andrew. I've been around a couple different parts of Decentraland. Started off doing social media, moved into community management, and now back in the social media role. I'm mainly focused on creating social media content that we use, social like videos, photos, things of that nature. Started off in Decentraland as a community member, creating YouTube content early January 2021. And found my way into the foundation a little bit later that year in August. And I've just been rocking out since. So yeah, happy to be here. Thanks.
And I forgot to have Tillandsia, who is our lead creative writer, do her full intro here, but you'll hear from her today. She is actually traveling, but has done all of our copywriting tips and tricks, and she's recorded all of that part, but I forgot to have her record the intro. But this is our lead creative writer. She's in charge of things like the blog, a lot of the in-world writing that you see that comes from the Decentraland brand voice. And her background in general is in copywriting. She's done social media, worked in gaming, etc. So, and she was here before me. So I want to say at least 2021. So this is the foundation marketing team, but I also want to pass it over to the DAO's team. So Fractillion.
Hello, can you guys hear me? Oh,
yeah.
Okay, perfect, awesome. Wonderful, great to be here. Welcome everyone. And I guess a little background on me. For most of my career, I've been working as a digital arts educator with fine arts centers and worked in marketing for them, as well as different distributors and brands across the world for mainly like high-end mountain bike parts. So worked in a lot of different diverse marketing environments. But so I dove into Web3, started doing community creator contests for Rarible, so part of their Rarible protocol DAO. And when I first started in Decentraland, I spent about a year as a DCL reporter, so running around, getting to meet all the fun creators and I'm just like came in as an artist, builder, and I love everything in here. And for the past year and a half, I've been part of the facilitation squad and technically the comms lead, and I help create all the socials and host events and do what the community wants, and here to support the community. And I'm not sure if Fede or my other members are here, but maybe when they join us, I think they have a meeting. Fede, are you here? If not, maybe later you can introduce.
Yeah, I'm here, Nat.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm Ibe. I've been moderator for the Discord for the past 2 months. My background is in political science and public policy, and I've been working as a program manager for the past couple of years, focused on marketing as well as my past work experience. So yeah, joined the DAO community about 2 months ago. So pretty new and catching up with all the stuff. But yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if Fede's here, but maybe later he can introduce himself.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Kate.
Yeah. Thanks. I'm sure this community is very familiar with Fede. All right. Just a piece of clarity of like what our roles are here. So we have the foundation, the DAO, and obviously the decentralized global community. So foundation, hired team with specialized skill. We really work on the strategy and metrics, brand identity, digital marketing, content creation, publishing from all of the DCL owned channels. And we are here for DAO and community amplification. We do a lot with our brand partnerships in terms of marketing support. And then we've been recently doing and will continue to do in 2024 user acquisition campaigns. So from the DAO side, they really own all the same stuff, but from the DAO perspective, they host educational events and workshops, content creation and publishing. They have their own newsletter. If you haven't signed up for our newsletters, we can throw them in the link. PB, I don't know if you mind trying to grab them if you can, and if not, I'll do it at the end. The DAO also amplifies grant projects and foundation messaging. And then for the global community, I think of you all as an extended version of the marketing team. You're really ambassadors of the brand. Low threshold to participate. Anyone can tweet and talk about Decentraland as you all do regularly. I love that it's a wide range of voices, individuals, communities, brands, and the DAO, and such a wide range of content. Some people do video, some do social, some do other languages, and I think that's so great and an opportunity for us to really have a broader reach. So definitely consider the community a part of the marketing team and structure here. I would love to just do a quick framework for anyone that may not have had traditional marketing experience and exposure of brand versus marketing. We'll go through this all fairly quickly, but brand is really kind of what you feel or think when you see these names. So I would love to use the chat and just, you could pick one of these and say like, what are the 2 words that come to mind when you think of these brands? So could be whatever you want to do, use the chat, 2 words that immediately you see the logo and you're like, I think of X. I will give you all a minute to participate. I'm going to assume these are all brands people are familiar with at this point, no matter where you are in the globe. I tried to pick ones that are well known. Sinful. I think as a collective, it does feel like that. I was thinking more individually. Goldie, love that. Chanel, chic, high fashion. As a collective, capitalism. All right, we're going to go through some of these. So as we look at all of these, I think we can look at it and go, okay, what are words that immediately resonate with the brand? So you go to Coca-Cola, refreshing, iconic. I don't even drink soda, and I'm like, ooh, that sounds nice on like a hot summer day. And again, don't drink it. It's just the brand persona. I can like picture the commercial pouring it. Chanel, luxury, classic, high fashion. McDonald's, convenient, affordable. Apple, innovative, sleek. Google, user-friendly, progressive. Ford, historic, reliable. That may be a US, more specific US thing. UPS, trusted, efficient. What else is on here that I didn't cover? Starbucks, premium experience. Nike, I mean, I think athlete, do it. I love that you guys are starting to say some of their lines too. I'm loving it. Yeah. So like, because of the brand equity they've built, you already think of something without seeing an ad today. You already have that value kind of associated. So want to do a quick little exercise here. These are two logos, the DCL brand and the DCL DAO brand. So I'd love to start with the DCL brand as a whole. Drop some words you think of when you see this logo or where you hear Decentraland into the chat. Love it. Magical, community, fun, metaverse, community, creativity, innovation, art. Super fun. I love these. Music, events. Goldie stealing everyone's answer. Collaboration. Okay, now let's pivot to DAO, the DAO side. What are the words you think of? Different logos, similar foundational elements, and different brands. So what are some of the words that come to mind here when we think of the DAO? You can use the chat here. Voice, collaboration, one existing. I knew that one was coming up. Proposals, governance. All right, awesome. Decisions, love that. Politics, yep, every DAO has that. All right, so I would love to continue working on these conversations so we all kind of feel like we have alignment on what these brands mean. When I talk about Decentraland, I definitely think of it as a virtual social world, and those are kind of the key words there. When I'm out speaking in the community or hearing from people, everyone talks about the fun, like you all just did, the fun social community aspect. And I think that's something super unique to this platform and community. So I love that. And then the fact that it has a DAO and it has this governance mechanism kind of built in is key to what separates it from others in this space. So that's how you could do your brand, like understanding what your brand means. So developing your brand values and making sure your messaging consists of that. But there can also be personal brands. This is a community member you are all, I'm sure, familiar of. You see the avatar and you know who we are talking about here. So Tang is someone that we all know has built a personal brand, as many of you have as well. But given she was our Fashion Week superstar, figured this was a good example we could do. So really, when you think of your brand, again, it's how do you want to be perceived? What are the words that you want people to come to mind when you think of skills, experiences, qualities? So here we could say builder, creator, model, experiences, dollhouse, house of Tang, qualities, fashionable, welcoming, things like that. So just, it would be great for each of you that want to work on defining your personal brand, write down skills, experiences, qualities, and start putting some words in there, ranking them, and then making sure that's the persona you are putting out into the world. Portfolio. So whether you're an individual creator or a studio, and then giving a snapshot of examples of your work. So think like your audience. So if I'm a brand looking to come into Decentraland and I'm looking for a wearable creator, for example, is it clear when I go to search in Google, Decentraland wearable creator, what content have you done that may allow that SEO to level up your experience? So in your studio's portfolio, if you're part of DCL Studios, there are all those tags you can have. Are those accurate to the services you provide? On your website, do you think services work? So case studies is really big, especially if people are looking for partners. What have they done that I can see? Do you have reviews? Reviews we'll get into of the value of them, but make sure you ask for them. Like straight up ask people. I do it all the time. I make sure I get reviews on my LinkedIn anytime I leave a company or an annual review or whatever it is. I'll write, hey, I really enjoyed working with you. If you're up for it, I'd love to have a review from you on my LinkedIn. And people will say yes or no. There's no offense either way, but asking for it is something that I recommend people do kind of often. So this was one example, mostly because their bar had the services, the work, and information about them to make it really easy to understand what happens. But there are so many great examples within our community. So definitely wanted to make sure we highlight that. And just making it super easy to find your information. It seems so basic, but when you go to a Web3 event, you introduce yourself, everyone's like, I'm never going to remember all of these people. I never remember, I'm the worst with names. So how can you make it super easy? You can have a QR code that you set as your background on your phone for the week. And maybe it goes to your web page if you have one. We'll get into that. It can go to your LinkedIn, your Twitter, your portfolio, whatever it is that you want people to be able to easily access about you, an email address. But that's a really great way when you're at these really big Web3 events to just be ready. You could even print it on a card if you want. That's helpful to do, or just have a really easy, rememberable URL such as tangpoco.com. I personally am like, building a website is too much work for me as a non-technical person. But what's awesome is, I don't know if anyone has seen, Notion has these personal website templates, super easy. They're free. You pick one of the templates and it gives you examples of, like, you could do your case studies. It gives you, you could put links to all of your different profiles. You could integrate different examples of your work, pictures, however you want to do it. They're very great. So if anyone hasn't done that, notion.com, and they have, you could literally Google personal website templates, and there are a ton of free ones. Tang, I see you just joined, and I just finished speaking your praises in our personal branding example. So welcome. Here, someone also mentioned Wix.com. Yeah, definitely has a great platform for building websites too. So that's brand. So just reminder, this is who you are, what people you want to know about you, kind of at your core. And that could be you, your studio, your company, whatever it may be. But then when we think of marketing, that's really how you share your brand, what you are putting out into the world and how you do that. So this can be done in a few ways. There are 3 channels or buckets of channels we think about for marketing. There is owned assets you control. That could be that website you create. That is your social profiles. That is your email list if you have one. For us at Decentraland, that's our actual platform assets as well. So anything where you have full control, no matter what anyone else does, you are able to make any changes whenever you need. Earned is the organic exposure you get via third parties. So this is like external validation. So this is where those reviews come in. This is someone else saying, their work is good, I like them, these are their values, whatever it may be. That could be done through press and media coverage. It could be social shares and mentions. So even your retweets of someone, that's earned media. You said, this person or this topic is interesting enough, I want my audience to know about it. And then for paid is investment in promotion to reach someone else's audience. You actually don't need it to be physically money exchanged for it to go into paid, but there has to be a value exchange. So anything that is not someone doing it out of their own goodwill without getting anything in return, that would be earned. To get something in return, that's kind of paid. So that could be advertising, sponsored content, partnerships, etc. I know I've been talking for a bit, so thumbs up. People still here? We good? Okay, perfect. I'm looking at the chat. Tang, don't worry, it's recorded. You all can see anything. Anyone that's jumped in late, this is all going to be recorded and added somewhere, likely YouTube and the Discord as well. We do have the Slido. So reminder, if you have any questions, you can drop on there, but also check in the chat. Okay, marketing funnel. So this may be a lot at this point, but I think it's helpful to just think through it in steps. So traditional marketing funnel, we talk about awareness, which is someone says, you say Decentraland, and they're like, I've heard of that. They are aware of the brand. Interest is they are they are interested in it. They are saying, that's something that I'm not saying no to. Consideration is meaning they're thinking of jumping in. Maybe they have other metaverses in mind. Intent, maybe they hit RSVP on an event. Maybe they bookmark it. And then as you can see, we're getting We're getting smaller and smaller, moving people down the funnel, as it's called, to purchase. Purchase for us is really more of a play, or since we're not a traditional brand in the purchase sense, but it could also be purchasing wearables, land, name, etc. Post-purchase and advocacy, meaning they speak about your brand in a positive light. So for Decentraland, we've kind of adjusted it slightly. So we do the learn, play, create, and govern. Those are the 4 big buckets that are happening here. So you could start and hear and visit the DCL website. Then maybe you dive a little deeper. You're on the blog or the docs. Then you jump in, see the world, play, have a good time. You build your identity. So you're creating your avatar, you're building out your profile, maybe you're buying some wearables. Then you're like, this is awesome. I want to create something of my own. You're exploring deeper, creator docs, maybe you're on the GitHub, maybe you are asking questions and watching the YouTubes of how to create new things on the tutorials. You eventually become a publisher, so you have something in Decentraland that you've created and is yours. And then to participate, I think of our DAO as our most active, most engaged kind of bottom of the funnel people. They're here, they've done all of the experiences, and they're advocating or pushing for better, whatever it may be within the DAO, and really a core community member. That track? Cool. All right, the fun stuff, the tips and tricks. So high level, that's all background for anyone that may not have had some traditional marketing language that you may hear out in the space, but really want to get into practical stuff for all of you. So we're gonna pass this along to different tips and tricks from the team. PB, you want to kick us off? You're muted, I think.
Oh, had my headset off too. There we go. Hey, yeah, starting off with some social media content strategy tips. Got a few of them here, so we'll just kind of go through. First off, you want to know your audience. You want to know who you're creating content for. For example, our Twitter audience is very visual, a lot of content creators that like creating videos, really cool photos, things of that nature. So on our Twitter, we're generally posting photo content, videos, and then comparatively to LinkedIn, is generally longer form written content, getting a little bit more into detail about different brand to brand related things. So know who your audience is on different platforms and know how to create content that they'll want to see. Have a brand voice. Make sure you stay consistent with the way you're broadcasting your content. You basically just want to make sure whenever your audience or maybe somebody new sees your content, whenever they see it, they know that it's your content, maybe without even seeing that it's specifically from you. Utilizing multiple formats, images, videos, blogs, getting the content out there in different ways that people could get it in. Prioritize quality. Making high quality content is the most valuable thing. An analogy I heard before that I like to keep in the back of my mind is thinking of it like your content as waves in the ocean and your audience as the beach. And whenever you're creating really awesome, engaging content, you're creating a massive tidal wave that's leaving a really big wave, and it's leaving a really big impression on the beach surface, and it's going to take a long time for that impression to fade since it was such a large wave. So whenever that happens, you don't want to let that impression completely fade. So you want to make sure you're continuously coming with smaller waves until you have that massive tidal wave again. But make sure you're always covering in waves and you don't ever let it fade. Next slide. You're there, Kim. A couple more content strategy tips. Creating a memorable series, something like Wearable Wednesday. The community has really taken a hold of and has been running with it. It's really awesome to see all of the different Wearable Wednesday content that comes out every week. If you go on Twitter and you search that, it's pretty much only Decentraland content. I'm sure other people have used it for other things, but it's really awesome to see that taken over. There's also, a couple other good examples that Kim has mentioned. FAFO, Tips at 10 on Monday, bunch of other really good series. Just creating a branded series so people see it and then remember it's you. Utilizing trends, using tools like Pinterest Predicts, just to see what types of things people are searching or what kind of things that AI is seeing that may become relevant in the future. Optimizing keywords and trends for better visibility. Just making sure you're using good SEO, search engine optimization. So if people want to find your content, the keywords are there so they know how to find it. Consistent posting, it's kind of what I was talking about with the waves. You just want to make sure you're consistently posting and getting the message out there. So you never really let that impression fade. Use analytics to measure your success. You want to see what's doing well. If you post short-term video content, say you post a 15-second video clip and it outperforms content that you're posting that's 2 minutes, 3 minutes long, you're going to want to try more of that content. You want to see what's doing well, and you want to keep pushing for that. So see what people are gravitating towards, and try pushing more of that style content. Community engagement, building and engage with your community. Wearable Wednesday is a really good one, for example. Wearable Wednesday Twitter Spaces we were doing for a while that really helped kick off the Wearable Wednesday whole environment, different community meetups, things like that, just to get different community interactions is always a positive. And just promote your content over and over. Research shows that very small percentage, 0.07% of Facebook fans engage with average organic posts. So you just want to reutilize posts. If you have a text post, you could reword it in different types of ways. Redesign the image slightly, and just repost the same content in different times of the day to cover different time zones, different days of the week in case people aren't on their social medias. If some people might only go on their social medias on the weekends. So if you're posting during the weekdays, you'll want to make sure to post on the weekends and get your content out there as much as possible. I think that was it for my slides. I'll pass it back to you, Kim.
Thanks, PB. Yeah, I think I'm going to go back one because I think the other one that this example was for Guyan. I know we always promote wearables kind of like when it launches, but also being able to react to that market of when something's trending, like promote it again. That's awesome, and celebrate that update. So I'm going to jump over to the slides from Tillandsia, our copywriter, and these are recorded so that she can participate as well.
Hey, Tillandsia, the Decentraland Foundation's copywriter here. Today I'll cover a few basic copywriting tips. I'll be focusing from the perspective of event and place location descriptions, but the stuff covered here will be useful for copywriting in general. So when it comes to descriptions for events or places, the biggest mistake you can make is not really having a description or just having one line that doesn't really give the reader any information, because then there's no reason for the reader to interact with your content, and that's what you want. Now, when you are writing your description, there's a few key points that you can keep in mind. to write descriptions that convince and inform. First of all, you want to make your listings easy to find. You want the people who are going to be interested in your content to find it, which means having relevant titles and search terms in the description that people might search for, and of course take advantage of the categorization feature in events and places. For the description itself, you want to include all the relevant information that might convince someone to go to your location or event. Depending on what it is, you'll want to describe what is the vibe like. If it's a game, what are the game features? Will there be prizes? Basically, what does someone need to know to be convinced to interact with your content? And lastly, you want to consider readability. So you don't want to have a whole wall of text, because that might just be as useful of having no text at all, because in this day and age, people want to spend as little time as possible on things, so they just won't read it. You want your description to be scannable, so they can quickly glance at it, get the information they need, or maybe even read something that pulls them in deeper and actually convinces them to read the whole thing. So you can use bullet points, spaces, and most importantly, keep it simple. Only include the relevant information. Don't be too conversational, because that can take up way too much space that isn't necessary. So we'll start with the example of an event that is a game launch for the game that the foundation recently came out with, Metadine Labs Ratscape. If you haven't checked it out, you totally should, especially if you're into challenging strategy. That aside, if we compare these two event listings, one, all it has going for it is the title and the image. Maybe that's enough for someone to check it out, but not necessarily. This is a game, so the description that maybe says something about the game to convince someone to be like, okay, yeah, this sounds like something I'd be interested in, is going to be a lot more effective than just come to our event. Now, looking at this example event, we can see that the title is descriptive. We have the name of the game, but we also have the word game, which helps for people who are writing in search terms, and the fact that it's a new game launch. So someone who likes the game will be like, oh, a new game, let me check it out. And within the text, there are also relevant terms that maybe someone would search for, like strategy game. And not that you can see this in this image, but of course it would be categorized under gaming.
A few things we've done that are new that I can let you know about are that we created a completely new email flow. So as someone signs up for the Decentraland email, which is decentraland.beehive.com/subscribe, we can put you into a flow that lets you learn all about Decentraland and kind of gives you a cadence of emails for over 30 days. So this is one way we're definitely planning to do a lot more of that educational content up front for people that are joining and new. Anyone that's having issues, I will also send out this presentation to everyone so that you have it as well. And we are trying to do some recording here. I know we're having problems. PB, I don't know if you're able to record right now, just so we have a few. Thank you. You're the best. So we have a few backups. So Cheddar, don't worry, we'll have some recording. We'll just obviously need to do some editing. So we will do that. And yes, we'll send, the full videos. You're hilarious. I'm assuming you mean ours and not those. Okay, I'm going to keep going on this presentation due to timing. PB, this is you. You're able.
Is anyone speaking? Not yet. Oh.
Yeah, can you hear me, Fractilians?
Yeah, I just don't see the video. Is it everyone can see it, or?
Yeah, I'm recording as well, so if it's not going on your end, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah, so diving into some more social media tips. This is more so on the content creation side. The other stuff was kind of about getting the content out there. This is about creating the content itself. First, you want to start with a clear structure, outline your content, kind of have a direction in mind. Generally, what I like to do is I'll kind of start brainstorming an idea. I'll kind of feel out how I'll think I'll want it to go in my mind. And then I'll start recording the content to fit that idea. Um, Sometimes I'll do it the other way around. Sometimes I'll, record content and then find a way to use it. But usually I'll have an idea in mind and then I'll record the content that I want to use. So having that idea in mind, knowing where you want to start, knowing the direction you want to go and finish, and then creating the content, recording the content that you need to use. Editing for clarity, just getting straight to the point is important. Um, User retention span is probably lower than ever now, so just making sure your audience knows what they're in for. Um, Watch your pacing whenever you're editing a video. You want to make sure you're not going too fast or too slow, depending on the mood or the information you're trying to present in a video. To give an example, um, whenever I'm displaying text on a video, depending on how long it is, generally like for the text to be displayed for at least 3 seconds. I try to look at the seconds in my video editing template and make sure it's displayed for a minimum of 3 seconds, 2 to 3 seconds if it's super short. But if it's a little bit longer, I will. You tabbed out, Kim.
Oh, is it still working?
Yeah, but tab back. Go back to the last slide.
There we go.
Slide back one, please.
Yep. Oh, there you
we
go.
Yeah,
Sorry.
thanks. So yeah, just making sure you're watching your pacing. If you're making an informational video, you want to make sure you're giving enough time for the information to be digested. If you're making a teaser or a trailer, it might be a little bit more fast paced, where you're not showing quite as much and kind of creating that build up. um, Capturing attention early, using a strong thumbnail or video intro just to make sure that you're gaining interest. Usually on a product release video, I like to start off with a intro slide saying exactly what it is. I think I have a photo example of it in one of the next slides, saying DCL camera, so you know exactly what's coming out, you know exactly what the video is about, and you know what you're going to see. So go ahead and go to back one. Sorry. There we go. Sound quality is super important, especially whenever recording longer form video content. I almost say that it's more important than the video quality itself. People want to listen to good, clean quality audio. If it's staticky, breaking up, or just hard on the ears, personally I'm more likely to click out than if it's a little bit blurry or something like that. So be sure you're practicing good quality sound. um, Using graphics and text sparingly. You don't want to overload with things that look too terrible, or clutter, or don't really get your point across. A little bit embarrassing that the photo on the left is an actual thumbnail from my YouTube, from whenever I first started, before I was as versed in Photoshop and stuff as I am now. Kind of whenever I was first getting my toes back wet. But yeah, odd color text, image over another image doesn't look great. And then on the right, easier to read text with a less aggressive background. So just to describe kind of how I do the one on the right, just a little trick, is the background, just the photo there, I'll bring into Photoshop, and then I'll create a new layer, and then I'll paint that layer black, and I'll bring the opacity down to really just depending on where I want it, probably usually between 40 and 60. So it kind of gives it that little bit of a tint. So whenever you put the white text over it, it really allows it to pop out a little bit more than if the colors in your original image were as saturated as they were before you kind of gave it that tint. So just a kind of a easy, quick tip on ways to make text stand out on your images or thumbnails. Considering different formats, whenever I edit a video, I'll like to watch it on my computer. I have two different size screens. I have a 1080 and then a 4K, and I'll watch it on both of those, and I'll send it to my phone. And I like to see how it looks across a couple different platforms. I'll make sure it doesn't look weird on Twitter comparatively to Discord. Just making sure that your content looks proper in all places, especially whenever you're working on a really big project. You don't want to publish it and then it starts to get, likes and retweets or whatever the case may be, and then you realize the colors didn't balance how you want, or you don't have something balanced properly, whatever the case may be, or the crop isn't proper, or something doesn't fit right. So always be sure you're prepping for different styles, formats, things like that. Optimizing file sizes on Twitter especially is pretty much always downscaling things to 720 or so. So if you have really big 4K images, you don't necessarily need to upload them in 4K if you're not really trying to show that much detail, because it might be harder for people on phones or lower speed internet, things like that to load. So just being sure that you're getting the most quality out of your image, but you're also optimizing it so it's easy and efficient to load. Because I'm sure if you're like me and you're scrolling down your page and then something isn't loading and other things are loading, you're just going to keep scrolling by it. So you don't want to be that one that's having an issue loading. Using legal resources, royalty-free license assets. I should have linked a couple examples here, but I use free pick for just pictures, overlays, things like that, and Artlist for music that we use in social content videos and stuff like that, and that we have licensing for all of these assets. So yeah, just be sure that you're staying within the copyright bounds. Save and backup. This one is obviously important. Frequently save your backup. Control S, and match the save button. Make sure it saves. Save copies if you're trying a different edit. Say you like one video style edit or photo and you want to try a little bit of a tweak. Save it as a copy and then edit that one so you still have the original that you like, so you could go back to it. Yeah, and just make sure you save. I think you could go from there, Kim. Oh, no, this one's me too. Yeah, social promotion on foundation channels. So we like to help broadcast community created content as much as we can. So just making sure you post it to the right places, make sure you're using the appropriate social media tags. On Twitter at Decentraland, Instagram is at Decentraland_foundation, and so on. They're linked in this presentation, which I think we'll share. So you should have the links to those. Using branded hashtags, tagging Decentraland or hashtag Wearable Wednesday whenever we're doing music festival, hashtag DCL MV23, just to increase visibility, because we go through those hashtags whenever the events are going on, things like that, and see what's resonating. Creating shareable evergreen content. If you have stuff that's awesome that we could share at any point in time, I'm going to give Sinful a shout out. I know he just made a bunch of really awesome intro videos, getting people to join Decentraland. So content like that could be shared at any point in time is really useful, because we could just grab it and just repost it whenever there's downtime. So that's always a plus. Just a quick tip on some things that we cannot share. We try to stay away from giveaways, gambling, talking about market trends, coin pricing, things of that nature. So if you have a post and you're doing you know, retweet and comment with your 3 friends to win such and such, that's likely not a post that we're gonna retweet and share. Um, so just a heads up on that. If you wanting to promote an event or something you're working on, that's more on the lines of what we could help out with. So if you're working on something, feel free to reach out via our emails or DMs, social medias. I'm also active on Discord. I know I talk to a lot of people here in Discord. So reach out and let us know what you're working on, and we'll try to help out whenever possible. Now I think it's to you, Kim.
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Fractillians, do you want to talk about your approach on the DAO side? I think a bunch of it is similar, but if there's anything different you wanted to add as well, jump in. Fractillians.
Oh yeah, I don't think Fractalians
Yeah.
can hear you. She's giving you the go ahead if you'd like to take over.
Can you guys hear me? Sorry, Kim, I couldn't hear you. I was like, oh, is somebody saying something? Can you hear me? Oh, you can.
Yes,
Okay,
we can.
wonderful. Okay, cool. So just checking. No, I created like a little write-up, and I just wanted to share it with you guys, and hopefully some of the info I'm going to share on our approach and goals for the DAO strategy and my thinking behind it will help you guys with your own strategy and what you might possibly consider when playing around with like creating your own plan and ideas. So it's a little bit different than what we've been talking about, but again, I just thought it might be fun to share with you guys. So on the DAO side, our comms is kind of focused on educating, engaging, supporting grantees and community members, which we talked about earlier. And one of the key things needed for us to do that is to understand the needs of the community and to understand and address their pain points and create content, events, and information that they desire. So we aim to be better storytellers and continuously listening to our community to understand these key groups. Iteration, I think, is really key, and creating content that decreases friction for these new and existing members. And I think those two things are really cool things to kind of think about. The pain points that you want to address of people that you want to attract to what you're doing, and also how to decrease that friction for those people that you want to onboard. And one of the things over the next 6 months that we are actually planning and developing is to onboard and creating new content and events to appeal to a wider audience and entertaining our community. We also aim to improve onboarding pathways to these new contributors. So these are fun things for you guys also to think about. And this onboarding content will also help these existing members to help level up the understanding. I think a lot of times we create stuff and we think people get it, but sometimes they don't really understand where we're coming from. So kind of thinking about those things, I think, might be a fun kind of exercise for you to do. And another thing I think is really crucial, no matter who you're trying to talk to, is how the importance of it's crucial that we listen to the information and content the community wants. So what does the community really want from you? I think is something to think about. And sometimes you think you know, but like you kind of are missing the point. And so it's really important to have that open pathway to like getting feedback from what you're creating with the community. And we're also actually working on creating and working on a community content creator program, and we'll be sharing more details on that. But that kind of like, Kim, you were talking about that earlier, the importance of listening to the community and also like encouraging that content creation. So we're actually going to be working on that kind of thing. And we also do serialized content and events that have evolved over time and kind of like cater to that changing need because we have been listening to them. And so there's also a lot of magic, I think, in that, and like being open to iterations, being open to changing. And I think that's where a lot of our programs have evolved to better suit what they are. Because I think a lot of times we have these blinders like, oh, this is what people want. It's like, oh, let's just listen and see how we can play and how we can make things better. So beyond communications, I think it's great to also, that brand idea kind of in a way. Our brand as a facilitation squad is we're here to be helpers and supporters and to create these engagement pathways to help create creative solutions. So that kind of stuff I think is really interesting to think about for your own, promotion. Like how can we better engage? How can we better work together to create better fun, ideas for content creation. And hopefully some of this has inspired you. This is just kind of me rambling, but kind of how I think about things. And I think it's really super important, at least for me, to be flexible, to always listen, to inform yourself on what the community wants. And also want all of you guys to just not be afraid with experimenting, iterating, innovating, and most importantly to me, number one, is having fun. And I think a lot of the content I see from the community here is I see the passion, and I think that really shines through, especially when you guys are having fun. So yeah, that's it. I'll pass it back to you, Kim. I'm sorry I can't hear you.
No worries, thanks. I know we're running over on time due to our swap, so I'm going to go through this quickly as well. So coming up, just some things you can prepare for. We have the product release strategy. If you didn't listen to the all hands, I definitely recommend that. You can hear what type of product stuff is coming your way so that you can be prepared. Number one thing being make sure your scenes are in SDK 7. And then there's some other fun stuff that has been sneak peeks provided there. The next thing is we have some in-world events. So we have the new strategy, which is community builders. So for each event, we'll have that open call where community members can submit their proposals, really giving that visibility to attract more creators and to also give you more of a stage within the plaza, because we are doing one plaza for each event where we can collaborate around a title. It'll be exciting. So these are the ones coming up. There will be a holiday event. Details coming soon. Then January is wellness. That open call just ended, and PB linked to all of the winners. So congratulations to all of those creators. Then art in March. We have our summit, which we are reviewing all the applications now, and that'll be our first in real life get together. June, gaming. September, fashion. November, music. So just thinking about, as you're a creator, how can you align some of your ideas to these themes? I know we've had themes in the past that we've talked about too. Those are still relevant as a community. I definitely recommend organizing together around certain themes, which is a lot of fun to have everyone kind of jump in and move throughout the world. And then just wanted to share here some resources, some of our favorite tools. I think the best and most underutilized one that would be relevant for this community is the Twitter Advanced Search, which is amazing. So you can put in your name and minimum number of retweets and kind of see what content do people really use in that earned media perspective. Or you could do your name and then minimum number of comments and what really gets your audience excited. And then you can create more content around that. But others here from us and the DAO team, ChatGPT, Figma, Canva, Adobe Suite, Zealous are those AI recaps and snippets of spaces. So if you do any spaces, I definitely recommend checking it out. Hootsuite, which is one of the content management systems, but there's so many out there. So find the one that's best for you. Beehive is a marketing tool, and Slack, obviously. So that is the full presentation. Just a quick recap of things to keep in mind. Build and own your personal brand, be strategic and think multi-channel, and promote early and often. And I think we can jump to the Slido. So I see a few questions here. Can we have more sessions to tackle each of the points made here, like increasing sound quality or deep dive into video content? Yeah, I think let PB and Fractillion know, and if there's enough interest for particular topics, we could definitely do that. I know we've worked on tutorials in the past, so kind of let's keep a running list of which things are most interesting, and we can make sure to help out in any way that we can. Opportunities for more workshops in the future. Yeah, we're happy to dive in as long as we know there's going to be interest and it's something that the community wants to do. So again, as long as we can align on the topics that are most interesting to you or where you have your biggest challenges, we can work through that. So I think sharing that feedback with Fractillion and PB will be helpful.
Yeah, I think that Tobic did a brick-to-brick not too long ago that was centered around video editing. So I would definitely recommend checking that out if you hadn't. But I would be definitely open to doing another one around some of these other topics as well.
Yeah,
Awesome.
anytime. We would love to have you on and you could share and take a deep dive into that. That would be fun to have another one of those sessions and have peanut butter. You showcase your workflow.
Awesome. Do you want to close this out, Kim?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you everyone for joining. I know we went over, so I appreciate you following along throughout all of this and being good sports. We will take your feedback. Let's work together on what sessions make the most sense. We're happy to help and do more tutorials as needed. And yeah, I hope everyone has a great holiday season if you are celebrating anything. And check out a lot of the tutorials that have been made. We've updated YouTube. I know Fractillions has as well, with a lot of organizational playlists, tutorials, product release updates, and lots more to come in the near future. So thank you everyone for joining. We will, if we can, we will be trying to compile some sort of recording of this, but if not, Fractillions and Fede, I believe you now have the PDF if you want to at least share that part. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you, Kim and Peanut Butter. Great session. A lot of great info.
Everybody.
Thanks everyone for joining us.